All right, so Geiger, any last thoughts? Pick somebody else this time, though.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's go
we'll just
through
keep
like
doing this. I'll just name the whole fucking thing, and we just copy and paste it in there.
Tiger Woods, Roy McIlroy.
Who's like someone that no one fucking knows? Like Siwoo Kim. You can book it.
Hey, Psycho, we're not going to discuss this, okay? It's over. Now, please get out of my Van Halen t-shirt before you jinx the band and they break up. Welcome in to the Bro Force Squad podcast. This is episode 71, and we are just a bunch of bros drinking beer and talking movies. Thank you guys so much for checking us out. I am your host, Jeff Hornacek. Before we dive into it, of course, let's go around and meet the fellow bros joining me tonight. First, we go into the lab to the mad scientist, Brian Banner. Banner, I'm sorry I had to turn you down on your invitation last Saturday to go dumpster diving at that apartment complex a few miles from your house, but did you find anything good?
Yeah, first off, fuck you. Your loss. We had a blast.
We?
Yeah, me and myself and Irene. And I did. I found a whole pack of condoms. I mean, they only had a couple holes in them, so I'm sure they're fine. Dude, it was a score.
Let me say a whole pack of condoms. Like, typically you don't find a whole pack.
No, it's usually like one or two, and they're not even connected still.
Oh, God. No one wants that. And next, we go into the paint to our enforcer, Matt Geiger. Matt, I saw an ad you posted on Craigslist, which apparently we're still using, that said you'll give in-home self-defense classes, and the price was listed as, quote, negotiable, but don't fucking lowball me. What's going on with that?
Dude, Craigslist is awesome. No one pays attention to it anymore, so it's almost like the Wild Wild West. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm trying to start my own fight club, but I also get paid from doing it. I texted our legal counsel. He hasn't – hold on, he just texted me. He said it's extremely illegal, and I'm an idiot for even fucking trying it. Well, fuck him. I don't even think he listens to our episodes anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and do it.
No, I'm pretty sure that's just good business, Geiger. You're fine.
That's good business. I'm getting money, and I'm also beating people up. I mean, that's the American dream.
Yeah, pretty sure that's called the UFC.
It says it in the Bible. That's the American
He just sounds jealous he didn't fucking think of it. That's what that sounds like to me. God, that's great. Although, is this Fight Club, I mean, obviously, if you're advertising on Craigslist, just when it's in startup stage, we can talk about it, and then we don't talk about it?
No, I'm going to basically put it all over my gram and Facebook. I call it gram now, because that's what the kids call it.
God, that's fucking
I
cool.
like to get played, so.
He says one more cool.
Hand in hand.
He says one more cool thing, and he's in. That's for damn sure.
Geiger, I really try and hate you all the time, but when you say shit like that, I just can't.
I don't like to say full words because there's only 24 hours in a day, you know, and I got to get laid and smoke weed. So that only leaves so much time to pronounce words.
At the end of the year, add up how many seconds. It probably equaled like a whole hour that Geiger has saved just in abbreviating these words.
Yeah.
What's the Family Guy where Stewie goes to high school and that group of kids goes, God, he says one more cool thing and he's in the popular group.
Yeah.
He hits like two in a sentence and like, shit, that's like almost the trifecta. All right. Well, if you guys have not checked out our show before, or even if you have, you know that we start every episode off with the most important thing in any bro's life, and that is chess day. So our chess day today, with the NCAA's March Madness tournament coming to an end, so too has our annual Movie Madness tournament. Now, we do one of these every year in March where we put a bunch of movies in a bracket and have them compete with you guys at home voting on it to determine the winner. The theme this year was Pixar versus the World Movie Madness, where we put 8 of the best Pixar movies on one side of the bracket to meet the winner of 8 great animated movies from the other studios on the other. You guys came out and voted in record numbers on our Twitter page, and the tournament has now concluded. So I will turn it over to our own Craig Kellogg. I don't know why that's the guy I chose to refer. There's so many. Jim Nance or any of the other, but Craig Kellogg is who you are.
I feel
Brian
like I'm
Banner.
the most like him anyway.
I don't know if that's good. Maybe.
I couldn't name one quality that Craig Kellogg has. He's the most generic person.
Yeah. He's like when you go and
Broadcaster.
create a player and you just hit like auto create, like fuck,
Yeah.
I don't want to pick my eyebrows, just make some dude. That's Craig Kellogg. But like a personality version of that. But anyways, Brian, why don't you let people know the results of the Final Four and then the championship?
All right.
Please.
So, as all of you at home know who have been following along, in the finals of the world side, again, recapping, we set up the tournament like the Little League World Series. So we have the world on one side and the United States on the other side, a la everyone else and Pixar, because we know which ultimately is the best. Finals of the world side, Shrek versus Kung Fu Panda. This one was a tight matchup, guys. I'm not real happy with the result, but I mean, sometimes the shots just don't fall. Shrek eked it out 28-22 over Kung Fu Panda. I mean, again, Shrek is fine. You're not going to beat it in cast. I think Kung Fu Panda is better in story. I think best scene, it probably has. Impact, it obviously doesn't, but rewatchability, 100% is Kung Fu Panda. Personally, I had it 3-2 Kung Fu Panda, but you guys are the fans, and we bow to your every wish. Guys, what do we think about Shrek versus Kung Fu Panda? Shrek eking it out.
So Kung Fu Panda, I think, is the only really surprise we have. What was it, Despicable Me that it beat? That was, a higher seed than that. Everyone else, it's 1, 2, 4, and then the 6 kind of stands out, which is the Kung Fu Panda. So they had a good tournament, man. And as you said, Shrek, I think people have seen it so much that it's easy to hate on it. But rewatching it again, it is a fucking fantastic movie. For me, I think my natty, which I call National Championship for all you old.
God, that's fucking cool.
Damn it.
Was Toy Story Incredibles, which happened in the Final Four. I think those were the two best movies in my opinion. And Toy Story winning the whole thing, man. We should get paid from Disney because we're promoting that. I mean, that just makes people want to see Toy Story 4. Toy Story, I believe, should have won. The fans have spoken, and I agree with the fans. I think that was the best movie in this entire tournament, bar none.
Horns.
So it's interesting with Kung Fu Panda because I think as I've sort of matured, you notice how I said the word differently than most people say it. As I've matured, I actually had like a come to Jesus moment, and I looked myself in the mirror the other week and I said, do you Jeff Hornacek actually like Jack Black? Like, do you actually think he's funny? Because when I go back and think of all the things he's done, I love Tenacious D. That's an album that probably not a lot of people have heard. And I loved him in Orange County, but there's like not a lot else.
I liked him in School of Rock.
School of Rock. I'm a sucker. I like Shallow Hal also.
But he's become a complete joke.
Right,
sure.
but yes.
Oh, Tropic Thunder, he was good.
Okay, he's fucking great in Tropic Thunder.
I don't know. I think he's fine in Jumanji. He surprised me in Jumanji.
But I think the issue with him is that the misses outweigh the hits. And that's not to say that that's not going to happen with a lot of even great actors. But when you're a comedian and I start thinking of like all the haunted, the fucking Goosebumps movies and then The House with a Clock in its walls. And I understand he had kids and he started to, veer down that path a little bit more. But when I look at Kung Fu Panda, I think you picking that movie over Shrek at home would depend on, does Jack Black work for you? And I guess for me now, the answer is not as much, at least not as much as Michael Myers did in the role as Shrek. And then, like Geiger was saying, I went back and rewatched it, and Donkey is not as funny as I remember, but he's still pretty fucking hilarious. So I'm glad that Shrek won that matchup. And then, Ben, I don't know if you want to give the score of the other Pixar one.
Yeah, we're going to go right into the other Final Four match. The finals of the Pixar side was Toy Story versus Incredibles, like Geiger said. Again, pretty close matchup. I do think everybody ultimately got this one right, in my opinion. Toy Story over Incredibles, 30-22. Again, great turnout. Again, you just can't fuck with the cast. You can't fuck with the impact of Toy Story, like what it did. I mean, it's fairly controversial, but it was one of the first 2 Pixar movies ever.
Stop. You always try and lump A Bug's Life in there with it. Like that they were fucking separate. Only one can be first. And
it was like a photo finish. It was tie goes to runner. I mean, it's, they're recounting it like they did Florida in that one election. But
You just made 3 pretty good analogies all in one sentence.
yeah, I'm a badass.
You must be exhausted.
Yeah, I don't know how I can talk anymore, but ultimately I think that Toy Story was the right one as far as the better movie based on our criteria. Rewatchability, though, I'm always going to go Incredibles over Toy Story. But with that being said, Horns, let's reverse these back to you. What do you think of this matchup?
Well, I actually am going to use Geiger's great quote from last episode here as well. He brought up a good point about rewatchability, because I was thinking about Toy Story, and I was like, I haven't really watched that one as much lately as I think it was playing Monsters, Inc. in the previous round. Toy Story 3, sorry. And Geiger goes, but that's not the question. When Toy Story first came out, how many fucking times did you watch that as a kid? And I was like, yeah, that's true. I actually think I literally wore out the VHS copy of it that we had. And impact can't be overstated. While The Incredibles is maybe pound for pound the second best movie in this whole bracket. I mean, it might have gone up against the one that could have beaten it. Toy Story is the reason that we even have animated films like that. Because if that didn't work, people would have been like, it's fucking stupid trying to make it look like a video game, but it did, and it was awesome.
I mean, Toy Story, just the cast, man. Tom Hanks is kind of the supporting voice actor, because Tim Allen, I would think, would be the star. I don't know.
At least Buzz is kind of the star. I mean,
yeah,
but his arc is yeah.
But I mean, a better debate is if these two movies just had each movie, like there wasn't sequels, would it be thought differently, since we're getting a Toy Story 4 and we haven't even gotten Incredibles 3 yet? We barely got Incredibles 2, but that's not really the question. It's just the franchise. I still think Toy Story isn't better than Incredibles. However, Incredibles, like I said, throughout the whole tournament, has the best impact on pop culture just because of the eye and how iconic it is with merchandise.
All right, so that sets up a finals of Toy Story 1 versus Shrek. And I don't think anybody is surprised here. It was an absolute bloodbath. Toy Story destroyed Shrek 41-16. I mean, this might, in my opinion, was probably a 5-0 sweep, actually. Actually, I don't know. Best scene may have been Shrek.
No.
Okay.
I can't give Shrek a point here.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be a sympathy point, right?
It really is. It's
a fuck, basically.
Yeah, it's a look. You're down by 16, and we're gonna give you a layup with 10 seconds left.
Yeah, you let the white walk on drive in and let the ball up.
You could maybe get me drunk enough to convince me Shrek has a better cast, because Mike Myers is actually voice acting. He's not using his just regular voice.
That's a really good point.
You'd have to get me really drunk, though.
You've
which
got
I welcome.
Eddie Murphy as Donkey, and isn't it?
Yeah.
Cameron Diaz.
Cameron Diaz.
And John
Diaz.
Lithgow as Lord Farquaad, which I think might be the best vocal performance in that movie.
I had
Lord
no idea.
Farquaad,
That's John Lithgow.
Yeah,
I
and
had no idea.
Lord Farquaad he steals every scene he's in.
Okay,
I mean,
so
he's
we went
fucking,
from 15-0 to 12-3.
We might need to
Just
rescore
like
this. Shrek might have won. I don't know.
for the Russian judge at the Olympics. I'm corrupt as shit. I will change my score in a heartbeat. Don't at me.
We flipped scripts really. We went from fucking 15-0 to be like, I don't know, this is kind of a close one.
And the funny thing is,
way.
we all just talked ourselves out of it separately. No one was fucking making that case. It was just us on our own working shit out.
Brainstorming.
The crazy thing about Toy Story, it's very, very top heavy. Banner always likes to say people had a role to play and they played it, which needs to be recognized. But outside of Hanks and Allen, I mean, the rest of it are just really, really solid role players, like the mid-90s Bulls teams. So if you want to go 3 heavyweights, granted, none of them are on the level I think that Allen and Hanks were, but they were still pretty, Mike Myers, the luster on his star had not worn out yet when the original Shrek.
2000, 2001, he was at the top of his game then.
I'll look it up. But yeah, and Eddie Murphy, I think, still had a little bit of something left in the tank as well.
The second Austin Powers came out in 2000.
Yeah, this was 2001, the first Shrek came out. So, yeah, because Goldmember was 04.
I think Eddie Murphy was either coming off of or going into Daddy Daycare. So you got to take that into account too.
Sorry, Austin Powers Goldmember was the next year, but Spy Who Shagged Me was 1999, so probably a year and a half before.
That's a great movie.
That's a fantastic movie.
Since Goldmember hadn't come out, Mike Myers still had it. He was still a guy that could carry a franchise in the eyes of a lot of people.
All right. Any other thoughts on that finals matchup? Again, guys, Toy Story winning the Pixar versus the World tournament. A lot of great matchups. Everybody, thank you for contributing. I'm just stalling while I find my show notes to see where we need to go next.
I can take it from here. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
I guess last thoughts on Geiger, the whole tournament in general, Toy Story winning it all. Who did you bet on in Vegas?
Yeah, I'd bet on an underdog to try to get more money, but then I put a lot of money probably on Toy Story. They're the favorite. Obviously, they're a 1 seed, and the fans voted as so.
I lost a fuck ton. I had the over in Chicken Run versus Rise of the Guardians, and that didn't even come close to hitting.
I'm glad you brought Chicken Run up. I think that's an underrated movie.
Agreed.
I think that's one that if you guys haven't seen or revisited it recently, you guys need to do that. It's a really good story.
And why do I like it, Banner? Because it's basically a heist movie, right?
It really is a heist movie.
It's these chickens in a coop who realize they're there to be executed, and so they start to hatch basically a plan to steal the parts to build this contraption to launch them over the fence. Led by Mel Gibson, who's an American chicken who just like got imported on accident, and they're all British chickens.
Yeah, it's really good. You guys really should check it out if you haven't. And I am thankful, although Rise of the Guardians was fantastic, Chris Pine kind of ahead of his time on that one before he got real big. I think that was a really intriguing matchup that I was happy. Wish we would have gotten to talk about a little bit more on the pod, but both of those movies were fantastic.
Yeah. We didn't have any controversy like that Virginia-Auburn game at the end, luckily.
Yeah.
I mean, with that.
Is the national championship tainted? Probably.
Ours or the other one?
Yes.
I'm going to call ours the real one.
That's what I said. Ours is the real one.
Oh, okay.
Wait, there's another tournament going on?
The women's, but that's another. Geiger and I have another podcast where we talk women's college basketball. I don't want to exhaust our opinions on here.
Yeah, we don't need that.
A bunch of people just clicked off this and tried to search for that.
Yeah, wait, don't close out. They're like, well, if I only have fucking 16% battery left, and I'm assuming that pod's an hour each episode, so I'm gonna want to save them a juice, if you know what I'm saying. All right, that does it for our chest day, and that moves us on to the second part of our show, our protein shake, where we go around the triangle and ask, what's in your protein shake, also known as, what have we each watched lately? Geiger, we'll go to you first, because I know Banner has a disgusting amount of movies, he told me pre-pod. So what have you seen lately?
I'm not talking to the Bro 4 Squad fans here. I'm talking to the Matt Geiger fans who have been screaming, pleading on social media to bring back Wrestling with Myself. And it's in the works. So I want to talk about WrestleMania, which is what I watched. And also something else that I'm very intrigued in that I'm actually going to just ask you guys on pod if you'd want to do this. But WrestleMania, the granddaddy of them all, actually the 5th biggest sporting event in the world. Like FIFA, the Super Bowl, and something else beats it.
The Olympics, maybe?
Yeah, the Winter Summer Olympics. Anyway, headlined this year for the first time ever by women, which I have no problem with. Charlotte Flair, daughter Ric Flair, was fucking fantastic. Becky Lynch, they botched the ending, which I felt kind of bad for them. That's happened before, but it's kind of grand stager because everyone's like, women can't do anything right. But Ronda Rousey should not be there. She's not a wrestler. She can't fucking talk on the mic. She can't take bumps. I hope she fucking never returns. Seth Rollins.
Was she that bad? Like, did other people think she was that bad too?
It was kind of hard because I'm trying to think. When someone comes in and they suck at wrestling, they'll like let them have it. But since she was a woman and it's kind of the woman's movement, I think people were kind of scared to say how bad she was. But some people on the internet were saying like, thank God she's gone. Brock Lesnar dropped the belt to Seth Rollins, who I think is a modern day Shawn Michaels. Brock's hightail, and I think he's going to the UFC to fight Cormier. The big thing that I want to say is after Mania, the Monday Night Raw after Mania is the biggest Raw of the year, and it's usually a surprise, and I always watch. I don't watch Raw as much as I used to, but I'm trying to see if CM Punk will come back, who is my favorite wrestler. And they teased a title versus title match that ended so bad, fans were booing and chanting AEW. Now, I've heard of AEW, but I started researching AEW on YouTube, which is Cody Rhodes's, who's the son of Dusty Rhodes, his new brand of wrestling. And he has the backer from Jeff, the Jacksonville Jaguars, that con guy who's like a billionaire.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
So this company just paid and bought Chris Jericho. Jim Ross is coming over for commentary. They're saying it's going to be like the next WCW and compete with WWE that I'm so fucking tired of because it's so PG. It's not, R-rated wrestling that us three grew up on. And I'm telling you, if they sign Dean Ambrose, who also just left WWE, did not renew his contract, and no one knows why because he's in his prime, and CM Punk, that I'm going to do podcasts on their fucking pay-per-views. The first one is May 25th in Las Vegas, which I fucking love because WCW used to always do Halloween Havoc in Las Vegas. And the other is in June at the Ocean Center. And Cody Rhodes just filed for the trademark name Bash at the Beach. And if he brings that back also, I am so fucking on board with this. That's where the NWO was formed when Hulk Hogan turned heel, which is one of the biggest moments in wrestling. So AEW, it's All Elite Wrestling. Check it out. The Young Bucks are on there. A lot of people from the Bullet Club if you're into Ring of Honor. But I'm very excited about this because I'm so fucking tired of WWE's bullshit and their PG stuff. And Wrestling with Myself might be back. If they sign Punk and Ambrose, I'm going to have to do a pod on it.
I used to have WCW versus NWO on the N64, and I would always play it Bash. Oh yeah, I would always play Bash at the Beach because the fucking setup of the ring looks so cool. So
yeah, there's a pool around it.
Yeah, it was fucking insane. And floaties and stuff like that. If that comes back, you might have a fan over here. Just let me know. I need you to sell me though if it's happening.
You might not be wrestling.
I just sold
yourself.
you all this shit.
Yeah.
I mean, when I started getting into it, I'm like, dude, I'm excited. And Cody Rhodes' opponent, and his dad was the American Dream. He's going by the American Nightmare in Vegas. Is
God,
not
that's
yet.
Cool.
He fucking keeps teasing it. He has a show, a weekly show, basically about the ins and outs of running a wrestling promotion, which is very interesting to me. But he keeps teasing who it is. I'm like, dude, if it's fucking Ambrose or if it's Goldberg or if it's fucking CM Punk, I'm like, I might go to Vegas and watch this fucking thing because it's in the MGM that used to have a Halloween Havoc at. I'm very excited about this.
And then Sting comes down from the ceiling, then all bets are off.
Well, and the thing is they're like, any other lower wrestling thing doesn't have the money, but this guy's backed by the Khan family has more money than the McMahon family. They're in Nielsen data, they're richer. So they got backing now. This is going to be very dangerous. They said they already signed a TV deal, but they won't say who. If this is on Netflix or Hulu or some streaming service.
Oh, shit.
I'm telling you, man, or go to YouTube Red. This could be WWE could have some fun competition for the first time. We all agree wrestling was better when it's WCW, WWE. Competition makes everyone better.
Preach.
That's what I watched.
Anything else, or that's it?
No, I just want to talk about wrestling because you guys won't let me have my own pod. So
you don't have the financial backer to have your own pod.
It's true. I better talk to the Khan family. I could be the spokesperson for AEW.
I got him on the other line. I'll patch you through.
Okay.
All right, Banner, how about you? What's in your protein shake?
Okay. Sorry, had to open a new beer. All right, guys. So as you know, Endgame is coming out towards the end of this month. So I started.
By the way, real quick, will we? Our review will be dropping probably that Thursday night, right?
Yeah, Thursday night, early Friday morning. We're all seeing it pretty early on Thursday, so keep an eye out for that.
We'll try to do a non-spoilers part in the beginning, and then maybe we can fast forward ahead to talk about it. That way, if you haven't seen it yet, which a lot of people won't, we'll give them a couple minutes of non-spoiler talk. Sorry,
how
Banner.
awesome it's going to be, and you guys should go see it. So anyway, you guys know I go through and I watch the MCU beginning to back in release order. Since our last pod, I actually finished the MCU, so I watched all 21 movies in 24 days. Concluding with Spider-Man Homecoming. This is just since our last pod. Spider-Man Homecoming, Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther, Infinity War, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Captain Marvel. So finally was able to finish that up. It was a little bit of a daunting task. A lot of fun.
You rewatched Captain Marvel?
Yeah. It's fine.
Oh my god.
I might have taken a long lunch and went and saw it at the Dollar Movie in my hometown.
Fucking sick.
So but guys, it's a lot of fun to go back and rewatch these movies. I've been saying it before, just to really appreciate, especially watching Infinity War again, you just really appreciate what they did over a decade of movies and bringing them all together. It was masterfully done. And
of those on the rewatch, which one did you like the least second time revisiting it?
The least second time again, and you guys know if you checked out our Captain Marvel review, I wasn't a big fan of the Captain Marvel. I just don't think Brie Larson was meant in a superhero role to be the lead, but I stand by my statement. She is going to be fantastic as an ensemble with all these other characters.
I was gonna say, have you seen the Endgame, the one clip they released?
Yes.
God, that was fucking cool.
Yeah, it was really fucking cool, and she is going to be fantastic in the ensemble with the rest of the Avengers. Going back, the one that actually gained the most that I liked was actually Ant-Man and the Wasp. Wasn't a big fan the first time I watched it. Going back, rewatching it, all right, it was fun. It is a fun movie. Paul Rudd, which I can't believe he's 50 years old, but
no, he's a vampire. I tweeted that out. We should all be scared.
It's absurd, but he as Ant-Man is absolutely fantastic. Michael Douglas in that really sells it. So
Geiger, you'll like this. At the beginning of Ant-Man and the Wasp, they do that de-aging technology on Michelle Pfeiffer, and I fell in love with Selena Kyle all over again.
Do you even need to? She's hot. She's still hot.
I know. Watch it. Listen to our Murder on the Orient Express review. We're like, acting cast still want to bang Michelle Pfeiffer. So
yeah, was her de-aging technology just putting her in a tanning booth for like 10 minutes? Like, hey, she's good.
I actually think they had to age her for the end.
Yeah, her de-aging technology, she's ate right and exercised the last 30 years of her life. So
good for her.
All right. Going along with movies, I rewatched Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Why, you ask? Can't answer that question.
I was worried you were going to say Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Fuck no. I will never watch that movie.
I don't know. Maybe you're sometimes you sit there and you're like, I don't deserve good things and happiness, and you pop it on. Sometimes, too, you're like, is it really as bad as I have it in my head? I do that with movies.
I'm pretty sure it's still as bad as I remember it. I don't think I will ever watch it again. You're going to get me down a rabbit hole.
One of my best theater experiences ever is sitting next to Brian during the scene when Shia LaBeouf started swinging on the vines with the monkeys. I've never seen someone so angry at anything in their whole life.
I literally just go, really?
He yells, really?
That's awesome.
I can't. No, I have a unnatural hate for that movie. But a movie that I don't have an unnatural hate for is The Meg. Watch that this week as well. Guys.
Wait, describe to Geiger, as he described to me, Jason Statham's character in the beginning and the scene and then have him guess what scene happens, because he will.
So basically, Jason Statham is Jason Statham in this movie, not a marine biologist. In this movie, he is the guy that they send to do underwater rescues. Okay? So at the beginning of the movie, he ends up doing an underwater rescue of a nuclear submarine, saves like 11 people, but ends up having to trap his two best friends in the submarine who like save people with him, and then the submarine blows up. Immediately after that, he quote unquote retires. Guess where he's
at? So then what do you think?
And
what do you think happens, Matt?
Yeah.
After that, he probably trains people to not like let that happen to them, kind of like the Kevin Costner, Ashton Kutcher swimming movie.
Well, when the Meg is a threat, they come to Jason Statham, and what do you think he tells them?
He says, "No, I'll never go back again."
Exactly.
Because
I swore that I'd never go back.
I swore to my friends that I couldn't save them, that I won't save anyone else, which makes no sense. I think they're friends. If there are people at all, I'd be like, no. I mean, Jordan missed a shot, but he played the next night.
Yeah, I'm dead, so don't make decisions based on me. Jason.
The best scene ever in a movie is whenever you're like, God, we have the greatest team ever, but the best person on the team doesn't want to be part of the team, so you got to talk them into it for half an hour. That's the greatest scene in any movie.
And then they say they won't do it and they leave, but then as the team's like getting ready to leave, that guy fucking shows up.
Yeah.
Like, no, man,
we've made opportune time.
Yeah.
Like, have you been waiting there watching it? Because we get our ass kicked for an hour, but you just did it.
Geiger,
it's like in Little Giants when what's her face shows up at halftime.
Check out our Little Giants movie commentary, by the way.
Icebox.
Geiger, all I'm hearing when you saying this is we need to do an Expendables movie commentary soon.
We need to do that. I do the Meg, actually.
Guys, the Meg is on HBO right now.
Okay, let's do the Meg for Shark Week. When's Shark Week? August?
August sometime? Yeah, we can do that.
Let's do the Meg for
Guys,
Shark
the
Week.
thing about the Meg is it has the potential to be a really good, bad movie. The problem is there's flashes of like, all right, this actually isn't that bad. And then you're like, wow, this really fucking sucks.
No, you got to commit to full bad.
Yeah, like
Hurricane Heights.
That's the thing I have with this movie. Good news is, though, I can report that they're working on a script to make a second one. And this movie was like
That's true.
130 to 180 million to make. It made over $500 million. And Jason
I
Statham.
don't want to sound racist, but honestly, that sounds like China's fault.
It is.
That's a fucking
So
Chinese.
does the Meg just like eat a lot during the holidays and get bigger for the second one, or is there another Meg?
I don't know because there was 2 Megs in this one. So
Wait, then why is it not called Megs?
Yeah.
I don't
a
know.
huge spoiler. Now I need to tag spoilers for the Meg.
Honestly, I think you're okay. I think it's fine. But Jason Statham was quoted saying, yeah, I mean, if the movie makes a lot of money, sure, we'll make another one because, like, who doesn't like making money? That's called Hollywood.
Because he doesn't have a fucking prideful bone in his body.
Yeah, he doesn't care. He's in a fucking
what's
Hobbs-
Why he's on the set of Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah.
You're a sick bastard, Jason Statham.
Oh, what's that? A paycheck? Say no more. We didn't even ask you what to do. Does it fucking matter, does it? Costs money.
Moving along, Revisited Pineapple Express. Recently found that on Netflix. You guys should check it out. Really fucking good movie.
I'm gonna link that below. Everyone buy Pineapple Express and
Yeah.
support stoner comedies.
It's really funny still, even to this day. Just remember, don't be a lingerer, everybody.
Fucking lingers.
God. And then also, I managed to squeeze in season 3 of Santa Clarita Diet with the Wife this week. That's the really funny, pretty stupid movie about an undead woman played by Drew Barrymore and them navigating life as a newly founded undead person. Not a zombie movie, not a zombie apocalypse movie, but has quote-unquote zombies in it. Really funny, guys. Timothy Olyphant is in it. You guys should check it out. I think it's a great show to watch with the wife just as you're winding down at night. I really enjoyed it. I know the wife really enjoyed it. I recommend it to everybody out there. So,
is that a Netflix original?
Netflix original. They basically every March they've been releasing another season. So we just finished the 3rd season. They've set it up to where they can do a 4th season. Haven't announced it yet, but they've been announcing the following season, like the May after it comes out. So everybody's anticipating we're going to get a 4th season because it's a really strong show.
Glad Drew Barrymore's still getting work.
Yeah, she fluctuates in weight so much too. Like, no joke.
Like Jonah Hill.
Yes, exactly like Jonah Hill. But like from scene to scene, which is really funny to me.
Well, that's not healthy.
Yeah.
Anything else, Banner?
Nah, pretty light week. That was about all I had. Yeah, that was it.
The crazy thing about when your list comes out is like, dude, you have to watch it some nights 2 movies, which I can barely squeeze in 1. So I don't know how the fuck you get
I'm
2.
a sick person. I also watch sports, so I don't know how I do it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a freak.
You're nuts.
I also
right,
need to give a shout out to my cocaine dealer. Appreciate you, man.
But you didn't say his name, so.
Yeah, it's confidentiality things. Learned that from Cycly.
Oh, that's smart. Couple things I watched. I saw the Jordan Peele written and directed movie Us. Check out the review that Ronnie Cycly, the aforementioned Ronnie Cycly, and myself did. Wow, I've walked out of the theater, didn't know if I liked it. Got home, started reading on Reddit, thought I fucking loved it. Talked about it with Cycly. I don't love it, but I like it. But I will say this, Jordan Peele is definitely onto something. This guy can fucking make movies. And there's really not much I can say without spoiling it, but it's really interesting. And the thing that I really liked about it was it's not political. Like, it has a small message, but it's not like, you have to read a little bit to figure out like what he's trying to say. The twists, because there's multiple of them in it, just work and are fucking cool. And it was funny to see the 2 main characters are M'Baku, Winston Duke from Black Panther, and Lupita Nyong'o, who of course is Nakia, Black Panther's girlfriend. So to see them be married in the movie, the whole time I was thinking, dude, Chadwick Boseman is going to be fucking pissed if he finds out that his girlfriend's fucking the head of the Jabari tribe. I would definitely recommend Us, though. I wish one of you 2 guys had seen it so we could talk about it. But go check it out on that service that we use that might not be entirely free.
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for.
But it's not free.
Huh?
Continue. What else have you watched this week?
Okay, another thing I also, on Saturday morning, that is the fourth fucking time I've done this. I was about to go to the gym. I was like, all right, as I'm just getting, my breakfast eaten and getting changed, let me just throw on Infinity War because I like it. 2 hours, 40 minutes later, I accidentally fucking watched the whole thing again.
Wasn't an accident.
By the seventh time. One thing I want to say that I noticed about Infinity War on this rewatch, now that, I'm starting to pick up the little things, is I think, honestly, the main story arc in the whole movie is Vision and Scarlet Witch. Like, their relationship and her knowing that she's the only one who can destroy the Mind Stone is like the central plot point of the movie. And obviously it's the last one to be resolved. So really everything kind of leads up to that, which I thought was kind of interesting. And Elizabeth Olsen is awesome.
So hot.
Yeah. Another movie I watched was the Netflix original Unicorn Store. This is Brie Larson's directorial debut.
Ugh.
She also stars in it.
Ugh.
And it's Samuel L. Jackson. Would you stop?
I don't like
She's
Brie
out.
Larson.
Well, that's your fucking problem. America disagrees.
I liked her when she knew her role.
So this is a weird companion piece to Captain Marvel because it also stars Samuel L. Jackson in it. And this movie, I think, it was not that great. Check out our Letterboxd review. It's like, the caricature where people make fun of like Zooey Deschanel because she's like, I'm so quirky and I'm weird. Brie Larson's character in this movie is that, like, to the extreme. Like, it was pretty fucking annoying. Like how quirky and humorous she was.
So what you're telling me is you don't like Brie Larson either.
No, I love.
That's what I'm hearing.
I don't like Unicorn Store, is what I'm saying. Although one great thing about the movie, and Geiger, I think you would especially love these two, is Bradley Whitford and Joan Cusack play her parents in it. Bradley Whitford from like The West Wing, and he's actually the dad in Get Out.
Yeah.
But they're really funny because they run a like camp retreat where they take troubled like inner city kids out to the woods and try and get them to like open up around a campfire, and it like never works out. Because they're always like, fuck this at the campfire. And they're like, okay, Jamal, I get it. Let that out. Let that rage out. And they're just really hilarious in the movie because like Brie Larson is like fucking things up left and right. And they just keep resorting to like campfire etiquette to like parent her, which obviously doesn't work in the real world. It's pretty funny to see. And then the last thing I saw in Geiger, all right, let's do this. I'm going to do a prescribing Geiger and then a prescribing Banner, where I give each of you a movie that I need you to see so we can talk about it together. But it's called The Inventor Out for Blood in Silicon Valley. Have any of you guys heard of this documentary?
No. On Netflix?
So it's on HBO Go.
Okay.
But it's about this woman. I actually can't remember her fucking name. Let me look it up real quick.
I'll
But
be paying for that this week, so I'll watch it because Thrones is coming back.
That's
so
right.
Geiger, this is the epitome. This is a lot like the Fire Festival documentary in the sense that it's this person, in Elizabeth Holmes, that's her name, who is just totally full of shit for so long and never actually shows anything real, but people keep fucking investing in her company. Like, it makes no goddamn sense. She runs this company called Theranos, which their basic premise is all these labs that you go in to get blood work done, they charge you a fuck ton of money and you have to get like a needle drawn and all this blood taken. We have a machine called the Edison where we can just prick your finger, you don't even need a needle, put this little blood in a capsule, and we can run 200 tests on your blood. And it's super cheap. And she never fucking comes up with the goddamn machine, but people keep fucking investing in her. And like the way she's able to stall and just bullshit people for years and years and years, and the shit that goes on at this company is insane. And so, Geiger, as a fellow connoisseur of bullshit artists, I think you would especially
I love con artists. Shit, that's awesome. Okay.
You would love this movie. And like all the interviews she's doing, it's so crazy how she never actually fucking says anything about the science. They're like, what is the mission of Theranos? And she'll go, to change the world. And I'll be like, that doesn't mean anything.
So awesome.
God damn it. So,
but to some people it means everything. So maybe
exactly.
You have the problem.
Dude, that's what some of these investors say. This one guy's like, I've never invested in a product in my whole life. I've invested in people. I was like, well, you sound like a fucking idiot.
That's awesome.
Right? And this chick, Elizabeth Holmes, is obsessed with Steve Jobs. They show her closet in the movie. all she has, like a fucking cartoon character, are black turtlenecks and black pants.
Is she hot?
Not really, but she's not like she's fine. But her
It'd
voice
been awesome if she was like a smoke show, but it's almost more entertaining if she's not, because it's harder to get people to buy. So,
right.
Sure.
Someone asked her in the documentary, and I won't spoil like the last third of it, which is really like you and the wife I think would get a fucking kick out of this. But someone asked her at one point, "Are you dating anyone? Do you have time to date?" She goes, "I'm married to Theranos."
That's awesome.
Which is her company.
A made-up company that doesn't do anything.
God, she sold bullshit for hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. And actually, the cool thing is her court case is in like 3 weeks, so now's a good time to watch the documentary.
Okay.
And then, so that's called The Inventor, Out for Blood in Silicon Valley. And then Banner, I'm going to prescribe a movie to you that I myself actually haven't seen, but I came across it and have heard incredible things. So this is my prescribing Banner segment. This is both of our homework to watch, preferably before next week.
I don't know if I can fit it in.
That's what she said. The movie is called Freaks of Nature. It's a 2015 film. It's a comedy, horror, sci-fi. Do you want the cast or the plot synopsis first?
Ooh, let's go plot synopsis.
All right. In the town of Dilford, humans, vampires, and zombies were all living in peace until the alien apocalypse arrived. Now three teenagers, one human, one vampire, one zombie, have to team up to figure out how to get rid of the visitors.
I'm in.
So
I'm fucking in.
Here's the cast.
Doesn't matter. I'm in.
Mackenzie Davis, who I know you've seen from a lot of things, Keegan-Michael Key, Bob Odenkirk, Vanessa Hudgens, Joan Cusack.
How the fuck did I not hear about this?
And Patton Oswalt are like the main.
Probably because no one saw it and it went in theaters. I'm guessing. I don't know.
But it sounds fucking
How do
hilarious.
we watch this? Is this on...
I actually found an HD quality on that illegal thing that we use.
Allegedly. Okay. Falling for Nature?
Freaks of Nature,
That's what
yeah.
I said. Freaks of Nature.
Freaks of Nature.
I'm gonna watch that.
So that's
tonight.
So I've done a prescribing Geiger and a prescribing Banner. And in Geiger's case, it's very literal because it's about a medical company.
I'll probably watch that too. Let's be honest with ourselves.
As you should. All right, before we move on to the last part of our show, Banner, I know you had your hand up as if you had a question.
I actually didn't have my hand up, but I don't have a question tonight. I'm just.
But what you're going to do is I'm going to start to introduce the next part of the show, and that's when you cut me off, right?
I'm not going to do it.
All right, just wait for it, everybody. That brings us to the last part of our show, which is our question and answer segment called Do You Even Lift Bruh? Is this going to be the first episode where you don't do it?
Look, my shoulders are only so big. I can't carry this.
You're like Vince Vaughn
every week.
Vince Vaughn in Couples Retreat, where he goes, "I'm shutting down. I know my truth."
I'm shutting down.
All right, and we only have one question.
I couldn't help it.
And it comes to I didn't know if you were going to call me into it. Comes to us from the Basics Guy at the Basics Guy, and he asks, "What film would you like to see remade as a Western, just like Seven Samurai was remade into the Magnificent Seven?" And Geiger had an interesting point. He's like, well, Magnificent Seven was like a movie from the 60s. And I actually didn't know this, but I guess Seven Samurai came out in 1954, and Magnificent Seven, 6 some odd years later, was technically a remake of that or a reimagining. But I always just view the Steve McQueen Magnificent Seven as like the OG Mag 7. But this brings up a good point. I mean, what types of movies or maybe a current script that you've seen made you think would work really well in the Western format? And Geiger, of course, have to start any Western question off with you.
So obviously it won't be a page-for-page remake just like these two movies, but what I want to do is 3,000 Miles to Graceland. Hold on with me here.
Wow. Okay.
No,
what I want to do, instead of it taking place in Vegas where they knock over a casino, it's more in California with the old gold rush, and you have like fucking 6 outlaws, and they complete the mission, but then on the way home, they all start killing each other because as one man dies, their pie gets bigger. And instead of Graceland, it needs to be like 3,000 miles to Dodge City or something like that, or some big Western town. That's where Wyatt Earp was. Instead of them being obsessed with Elvis, they need to be obsessed with Billy the Kid. But I think anything that has a bunch of outlaws, because there's no honor among thieves, as we know in Pirates of the Caribbean, stick to the code. But whenever
Check
they
that movie commentary out.
succeed a mission, and then they're like, dude, if we just like kill Jim, then we can split his fucking thing. And
Nobody
I'm like,
likes
guy's
Jim anyway.
Jim looked at me weird the other day, so he has it fucking coming.
yeah. So anything like that where there isn't really, there could be a good guy like a sheriff kind of going after him, but it's more
Like an
about the
anti-hero.
outlaws and how they're not trustworthy at all, and they just try to kill each other to get all the gold for themselves. That'd be mine. That's a good question.
I mean, Geiger, I gotta say, I think you're MVP of this pod. This is some of your best work because that's fucking awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I try
There's
to hate
like-
you every
Thank you
week. and I
for
can't.
knowing that, Jeff, and thank you for giving me the credit that I've deserved since day one.
Dude, now that I think about it, the only movie that I can remember, and Geiger probably has one off the top of his head that'll be really obvious, but there's really not many movies about the gold rush. Like the Legend of Zorro, the second Zorro movie, kind of takes place with the gold rush, but like, why has no one done more with that? Like, that's a
If
fucking.
you think of a lot of the westerns, a lot of them don't take place in California. I think the only one I can think of is El Dorado, John Wayne. A lot of them take place in like New Mexico. I mean, it's
Wyoming
new
and
territory.
Colorado.
Yeah, it's new territory, but it's not California. It's like New Mexico. A lot of them take place in like kind of Colorado, maybe
Arizona.
Montana, Arizona, Texas, but not many in California. Yeah, they should do a Gold Rush movie. Five Goes West was about the Gold Rush. Check
Fuck
out
yeah.
that movie commentary.
That's one of my favorite movie commentaries. Am I biased? Yes, absolutely. I'm actually going to maybe link Five Goes West below to purchase it and watch it along with us. Banner, how about you?
Shanghai Noon was around the gold rush time as well.
Yeah, so like no good movies.
Yeah, so
About
that
the
doesn't
Gold Rush.
count.
We didn't say it had to be a good movie.
Shanghai Noon was? Really?
Yeah.
Remember the pod when we had like a huge debate on Shanghai Noon or Shanghai Nights, and Banner didn't know the difference, and he came to defend it? Wasn't that a pod once?
Yeah, he was trying to say, well, like 1 year, the year that Shanghai Nights came out, he was like, this is a strong year of movies. Shanghai Nights came out. And
Yeah,
I was like,
no,
no, that's the second one, right? That's not, he's like, fuck!
Yeah.
yeah, that's not even the good one.
Where they
fuck
take
that
the
up.
best part of the movie, the Old West, and they bring him to fucking England.
It's awesome.
I don't understand the problem. Actually, I do understand the problem. I apologize to everybody out there.
Problem is that accent.
Yeah. I sound Jamaican in every accent I do. So, so answering the question, what movie would I like to see remade? I don't know of a specific movie, but we need a comedy that takes place in the Western, but isn't making fun of Westerns. Like a Wedding Crashers or something like that takes place during the Western times.
There's like A Million Ways to Die in the West, like made fun, kind of made,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
like parody the West.
Yeah, it was more of a parody movie. It was fine. It was funny. It was a good movie. It just wasn't. It wasn't a true comedy that takes place in the Wild West. Like we need one of those just like stoner movies where you've got two cowboys that meets an Indian and they're smoking peyote and they have some adventure running from, I don't know, like wolves or something in the Old West. I don't have a good example, but it was a great question. But I would love to see a comedy that
Banner,
takes
your
place.
phone's ringing. I think it's Hollywood.
Are you going to answer or not? That's the question.
You never answer on the first ring, guys.
Ooh, that's
Can't-
that's great advice
Can't
too.
afford him.
Yeah, they can't afford me. And then when you finally answer, you let them know that you know who's calling. You go, what? Oh shit, am I annoying you? I would love a stoner comedy in the Old West. Not even that, just like you said, one that is using the setting of the Old West for a comedy, but not like parodying it.
Yeah,
Also,
cool.
Cowboys versus Indians. That's a Gold Rush movie.
Cowboys, you mean Aliens?
Cowboys and Aliens.
Yeah, the Jon Favreau classic.
Yep, with Harrison Ford and Daniel
Ford.
Craig.
Yeah.
And our boy, fucking Sam Rockwell,
Yep.
is in it. How'd they get that fucking cast? Jesus Christ. Money talks.
Yeah. The premise of that movie, though, is fantastic, guys. It's a great movie.
I was thinking about this, and I've really, again, had a come to Jesus moment the last couple months where I think heist movies are my favorite type of film. Like, just overall, I love, like, Ocean's 11, The Italian Job,
Fast Five.
Fast Five. God, that's the best Fast and Furious because it's a heist movie. And I have to take one of those, and a heist movie in the Old West, I mean, those two things are built for each other, right? Whether we're robbing a train or a stagecoach or a fucking bank whatever it is, I want to see a heist movie set in the Old West, but I think the premise of the Italian Job is a really cool one that I'd like to see. Like, a gang of outlaws is backstabbed by another outlaw who ends up either becoming really rich or like the sheriff of a town. And when they were backstabbed by him 10 years ago, he killed their leader, right? So now, 15, 20 years later, that guy's daughter rounds up the old gang of outlaws and says, let's get revenge on the guy who killed my dad and backstabbed all of you. That setting itself up as a Western, I think, would be fucking badass. And I don't know how we'll do this, but I want Hugh Jackman, after seeing him in Logan, I want him in a Western movie also. So I want him to be like...
If you look at Hugh Jackman, you put a cowboy hat on him, he looks just like Clint Eastwood. God, like, YouTube Clint and Hugh Jackman in some of the roles, they look a lot alike. It's insane.
That would be incredible.
Hugh Jackman's a little bit more muscly.
I'm talking about the face.
But in the
whenever
face,
they've got the rugged 5 o'clock shadow, they look a lot alike.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
So the Italian Job set in the Old West. I just love like the premise of the Italian Job. Like this gang of thieves coming back, but they have a wild card this time, and it's the daughter of the guy that was killed. Sorry, spoiler alert.
The idea of Italian Job.
But one of the team doesn't want to be part of the team, and they say no, and they're over there just breaking a horse out in the country, but then they show up at the opportune time and like kick a bunch of ass.
And when they show up,
we've never seen that before.
And when they show up and they walk in like during the team's meeting, they don't say they don't enter like, all right, I'll do it. They come in like with some badass line like, you're gonna want to rob the stagecoach at noon when they're changing guards, and they're like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
And then he's like, I
didn't care about this. Why have you been scoping it out more than we have?
He's like, I'm the. And then one guy doesn't know him. He's like, who's that? And he's like, I'm the best chance you got at pulling this thing off.
Yeah.
And then us, the audience, goes, fuck, that's cool.
God, that's awesome.
All right, before we leave our fans for episode 71 of the Bro Force Squad podcast, Banner, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I also watched half of Jonah Hex.
That's about all anyone can really ask to get through, right?
Yeah,
which is crazy because that's Josh Brolin and what's the fucking Magneto's name? Why am I blanking?
Fassbender.
Michael Fassbender.
It's got Will Arnett as well.
That's a downturn here.
Will Arnett's fine.
Will Arnett and Megan Fox. Now we've ruined the cast with two names.
Hey, it won some points in the movie Baddest tournament because of cast.
That's true.
Maybe a point because I don't think it made it past the first round.
Geiger, any closing thoughts?
Justin Rose is going to win the Masters. You can book it. Go ahead and fucking bet on it right now.
Wow, heard it here first. We got it recorded. That's proof. For Enforcing the Paint, Matt Geiger, and the mad scientist Brian Banner, I'm the mayor, Jeff Hornacek, and thank you guys for listening to the Bro Force Squad podcast. Please follow us on Twitter at Bro Force Squad. Check out all of our reviews on letterboxd.com. Just search Bro Force Squad, 3 words. Type those same 3 words into Spotify, YouTube, and iTunes, and subscribe to us there and check out everything that we do on our website, broforcesquad.com. Until next time, we'll catch you later.
If he doesn't win, you can just cut that part out, right? You sound like a fucking idiot.
Yeah, people come at us like animals. We need to have a contingency plan.